Captain Stuck was ready. His crew was ready. And they were just waiting for the right moment to throw their grappling hooks onto the enemy ship. Captain Stuck had a dream. The dream of becoming the greatest pirate of all time. And he was sure that if this attack succeeded, he would be one big step closer to that dream. This time, he promised himself he would be extra careful, so he wouldn't live up to his name. He wanted to leave that cursed name behind once and for all. They called him Captain Stuck because he got stuck everywhere. As a young sailor, he had had an encounter with a particularly grumpy shark that had bitten off his hand without a second thought. Since that day, he had replaced his hand with a metal hook. At first, he had been terribly upset, but he soon noticed that everyone who saw him suddenly thought he was a dangerous pirate instead of just a young sailor who should be taken seriously. Because of this, it wasn't long before he was commanding his own ship and his own crew. Everything was going so well until, during the last big raid, he tripped, got his hook hand stuck in a doorframe, and simply couldn't get free. How embarrassing. Even his own crew had started giggling behind their hands. His hard-earned reputation was suddenly worth nothing, and everyone just called him Captain Stuck, the man who always got stuck and never finished anything. Without his leadership, his crew had been driven back, and he had to watch helplessly as his ship was sunk. But now he sensed a new chance. They were standing on the beach, waiting for nightfall to intercept the legendary Place, the fastest pirate ship ever built. The crew of the Place had just returned from a raid themselves and had been celebrating and drinking rum all night, so it was the perfect time to strike. It was almost morning, and the sun would soon appear on the horizon, but right now, when even the guards were tired and yawning, their eyes finally fluttering shut, that was his moment. "Attack!" he cried, and his crew stormed the Place and easily overwhelmed the sleepy pirates. He was very careful not to get his hook hand stuck anywhere, while keeping an eye on the whole battle. And this time, nothing went wrong. He didn't get stuck, and his crew, who had previously whispered that the plan would never work and that Captain Stuck was past his prime, now looked at him with a new respect and even admiration. They left the old crew of the Place tied up on the beach and sailed out to sea to hold their own celebration in safety. With this ship, Captain Stuck knew everything would be better now. Instead, however, a giant wave rose out of the water nearby and headed straight for the Place. A huge mouth suddenly opened and bit the ship in two. Captain Stuck only managed at the very last second to hook himself onto a piece of the railing to avoid being pulled underwater. Slowly, the sea calmed down, and he looked around. Not a soul from his crew was in sight, and the remains of the ship were sinking fast, leaving only a few loose wooden planks floating on the water. Luckily, the railing he was hooked onto had also broken off and drifted along, offering at least some safety from drowning. It can hardly get any worse, he thought, just as the giant mouth opened once more and swallowed him, hook, hand, wooden railing, and all. Complete darkness awaited him, and he had to laugh. He had worried so much about his reputation and his silly nickname, and now here he was, in the belly of a sea monster, just waiting to be digested. But suddenly he saw something strange. A short distance away, there was a glimmer of light. He slowly swam toward it and realized it was a lantern on a ship with several shadows gathered around it. As he got closer, he could hear voices getting louder. No, 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 that won't work. We have to fix the oars first, because the sail is useless in the belly of this monster. There's obviously no wind here, he heard one voice say. Then another replied, But without sail, the same thing will happen as last time. The monster will just eat us again. And who knows how many more times we can keep the ship in such good condition. It went back and forth like that, and every voice had a different opinion. But none of them actually got to work. And Captain Stuck sighed. Yo ho, he called out, and everyone jumped in surprise. I am Captain... He hesitated for a moment, then continued. Captain Silverhook. I am Captain Silverhook, and my ship was bitten in two by this monster. Do you have a plan to escape from this beast's belly? After 10 faces stared at him with open mouths, they quickly recovered, and all started talking at once. Everyone had his own plan. Slow down, one at a time, please, he shouted, pointing to a scarred man with an eye patch. You, first. He listened to the pirates' plans one by one, and quickly saw what the problem was. They all had similar ideas, but no one wanted to listen to anyone else, and everyone wanted to be the boss. So he asked the group, which of you is the best swimmer? There are some shipwrecks over there where we could find some oars. And who is best at sewing? The sail needs mending. Who is the best climber? We need someone in the crow's nest, so that as soon as we sail out of the monster's mouth, we can find land and escape. One by one, the man volunteered for the tasks. And once he had assigned everything, he shouted, Everyone has their job! Go, go, go! And all 10 of them set off to work. Only Captain Stuck, or rather Captain Silverhook, stayed on the deck, making sure everyone was doing their job properly. When everything was finished, they rowed slowly towards the monster's giant teeth and waited for it to open its mouth to swallow something else. When the moment finally came, he yelled, Row! Full speed ahead! And the ship actually made it out of the monster's mouth. Set sail, he then shouted, and they used the wind to put distance between themselves and the sea monster. Finally, the man in the crow's nest cried, Land ho! And the crew set a course for shallower waters. The monster was close on their heels in the form of a giant wave, but suddenly the wave grew smaller and eventually changed direction. The water wasn't deep enough here for the sea monster. His new crew cheered and called his name over and over again, Captain Silverhook, Captain Silverhook. From that day on, the story of the great pirate Captain Silverhook and how he managed to escape a sea monster was told across the 7 seas. The name Captain Stuck, however, was forgotten.